So as you know, if you have any questions, please feel free to pose your question anytime during this meeting. So in our experience right now, I am. I is borderless, aware presence, a transparency, an intimacy, which is love. I, intimacy, I love, I am. In your experience, this very moment, whatever appears to I awareness. Awareness not being any object, it's not an object. Whatever you perceive right now refers to I. I, the knowing aspect, the knowingness that pervades your entire experience. I know, I am, I am this knowingness. I am the knowing that I am. I am knowing that I am, and I am this knowingness. Everything that you perceive, everything that you experience, refers to your knowingness, refers to the I knowing, I know, I awareness. Whenever you pose the question, what is it that is aware this moment? You will find I awareness, I am awareness aware that I am aware, I awareness. In your experience, right now and any time, there is only one I, only one reality. The reality does not come and go, does not get better or worse, does not improve because the body-mind got a promotion, does not suffer because the body has an ailment. I is the reality of self, the reality of presence, awareness, not to be confused with any object, not to be confused with the body-mind, which appears to you like this perception right now appears to you, like the sensation of your feet on the ground appear to you. Like the image of your bedroom or the image of the oak tree in the yard appears to you. The eye that perceives does not appear. It's not an object that appears. What appears disappears. Like in your night dreams, your dream mind, various forms and shapes, various events appear as your dream mind. Seeming very real, feeling very real, convincingly real to the dream mind, within the dream mind. You travel to distant lands in your dream mind as a dream character. Upon waking up, you will find that you have not gone anywhere. That this entire journey was your dream. The characters that you imagined and that you felt you were, that seemed very real in your night dream, are revealed to be your dream, and that the reality of the mind and all its content is not within the mind, is not within the content of the mind. It is I presence, I truth, I reality, I awareness. In deep sleep, you look for the body, but there is no body. You look for for the mind, but there is no mind. You look for the world, but there is no world. Yet I am. The I is not an appearance in the mind, not an appearance at all. I do not know myself as an appearance. I know myself directly as myself, as I, as the reality. If there is a reality to the world, I is this reality. If there is a reality to the body, I is this reality. If there is a reality to infinite minds, I is this reality. If there is a reality to distant world and distant cosmic realms, I is this reality. I never comes and goes. Whenever you ask yourself, am I? The I answers yes, I am. I am. I am the eternity of being. I am the infinity and the eternity of being. It is in your night dreams and in your waking dreams that you suffer. And because in your night dreams and your waking dream you are identified as a particular character in the dream, the impression of suffering from that point of view seems real. And the various activities that you undertake in order to relieve the suffering of the dream character are dream activities that may or may not relieve the dream suffering of the dream character that you imagine yourself to be and that you feel yourself to be. And as long as we do not see through the belief and the feeling that I am a body mind, I am a man, a woman, a person existing in time and space, as long as we do not see through that, the impression of suffering, the hope and the despair, the disillusionment and the renewed effort continue both as mind activities and as feelings and emotions. when there is an insight that I is not an object in time and space. I refers to the reality that perceives right now. I refers to awareness that is formless and borderless. The insight into I awareness is a crucial insight that sets you on the journey out of the dream into the reality of being, the journey from the ego mind to God's mind. Is a deep yearning within our heart to recognize ourselves, to recognize our true nature. Sooner or later, we have to recognize that and journey to the Garden of Eden, to God's castle. There is no way around it. Notice that although at the surface there is an experience that you are having, there is a deeper level which is the screen of awareness. Although on the surface there may be all sorts of events occurring, at the core is the stillness of being. And you are that. So if you have any questions or any comments, this would be a good time for us to go into what you may have.
Hey Magdi.
Yes.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I do hear
Yeah,
you.
my name is Sunita. Hello.
Hello.
So I had a question. When you start realizing yourself as this being or the presence of awareness, and when you start having these old thoughts that crop up again and again, there are two ways that I can handle that. One is I can get into the thoughts, into the feelings, experience them, and then have a release or have some kind of a I can feel that the initial contraction just clears, and I can feel that. The second way is I just become the presence of awareness and just let go the thoughts as it is, and not just look at them and then not dive into it or so. And I have done both ways. In fact, I got fed up of doing the first way just because it was very difficult, like when I'm talking to my kids or having conversation, and this any some thought, some conditioning would show up, and I would go into it and I would lose the attention talking to people or kids and so on. And then slowly I just became that awareness and then let everything pass by. But then still there is a lot of detoxification or cleansing that needs to happen. At what stage do you realize that it's okay to let go of, I mean, some thoughts need to be cleared and some thoughts not, and some thoughts just need to go just by allowing them? And at what stage do you realize you should just stop diving into them and then just allow them?
Mhm. Whatever works.
Okay.
So when something is triggering you and you're able to notice that at that moment you're defending, or you're protecting, or you're blaming, when if it's possible for you to notice that in fact at that moment you have reverted to the personal self, and that there is a threat, and that you're trying to defend this threat in one way or the other, if noticing that brings the calm, brings you to silence, brings you to stillness, brings you to a place where you can still feel what's going on, but there is an understanding of what's happening, and the understanding starts to settle the feelings within your being. If that works, then that's what's happening. That's the path that I would follow. If,
Okay.
on the other hand, when I get triggered, I find that what works for me is to go to just the presence, that I am this present awareness, the screen of awareness, and all of this that's happening is just the weather, an external and internal weather. And if that brings a disengagement from going deeper and deeper with the snowball, then that's the path that I would follow. And it may shift. A certain approach may you may find a certain approach effective at a certain point, in a certain situation, and the other approach to be effective in another situation. And even a similar situation that is repeating itself, you may find that approach A was the one that's working and on a certain day, and the other approach is working on another day, on a different day. There's, of course, also, and I think that's a feeling that you understand, there is also the sort of going, because when we are in a certain reactive state, it's not so much about thinking, it's much more about feeling. We're trying to adjust how we're feeling. We're trying to come to a peaceful feeling state, and we believe that sometimes by blaming the other, or by rejecting, or by denying, or defending, that works. And of course, eventually we realize that these strategies don't work. It is possible, irrespective of whatever strategies are being used, whatever is happening, to also dive into the feeling, or let's say go within the feeling to its core. To There is a place within a feeling that is much deeper than its surface, than the surface impression of the feeling, uh, which is sort of like it's sort of a surrender, and then and an openness and a willingness and a yesness to feeling the feeling, to feeling the entirety of the feeling, whichever way it's unfolding. It's not so much thinking about it; it's feeling it. It's inviting the feeling, inviting yourself to the feeling, saying yes to what is happening at the feeling level. Because although we may sometimes find a shift in our mental perspective can quiet things down, it's at the feeling level that the vasana resides, that the process of the me process resides. So if it's ever possible for you to completely embrace the feeling, openly invite it, allow it, because it's there, it's happening. It's not like there are no closed doors, because it's already happening. There is something happening. Um, there is a tendency that we have towards feelings that we hold on to the good ones, and we don't want to even acknowledge the negative feelings. Um, and so that creates a division within us, divides us internally. So we recognize that feelings across the board are neutral, and they're a way in which uh, it's a gift from God, via which we can discover the emptiness at the core of the feeling, the spaciousness, let's say, the complete invulnerability, the places of complete invulnerability that is at the core of the feeling, and in fact, that is the substance of the feeling itself. And in order to do that, when we are willing and available as completely as possible, as wholly as possible, to experience at the feeling level what's happening, that's also a good direction.
Thank you.
Okay. So we have a lot of images about ourselves, about our children, about our family, about our life, about the world, and we feel that. That's the thinking and feeling. That's what the personal self is. And this is what we feel and believe is what matters, what is really important. We don't realize that all of that process is it's a never-ending process. It's like the weather, never-ending, and it's not about our happiness. There cannot be happiness in the weather. There cannot be happiness in the feelings or in the situations Because this whole activity of thinking and feeling is about happiness, about seeking and finding happiness. But it's not possible via a limited medium to find the limitless, because happiness has no limits, is not limited. It's not possible via it's not possible via a limited process to come upon the limitless. You can only come upon the limitless by going to the limitless, by realizing that I refers to limitless awareness, to universal awareness. And that's not a process of thinking or feeling. It's a direct knowingness. And of course, it's helpful in the waking dream state, not to go deeper and deeper into the thinking and feeling realm, rather to bring your attention to the stillness, the peace, the unmoved aspect of your experience. And the unmoved aspect of your experience is not the mind. It is presence, it is knowingness, it is I awareness. And so you bring that understanding that I is awareness, is presence, and that there aren't two I's. I is the one reality, that everything and everyone refers to that one reality. So you bring that understanding into your life, into how you think, how you perceive, how you act. You invite this understanding to permeate your life and your actions and your feelings and your perceptions. So it's an active process. And the challenges that arise for you in your life are an invitation of sort for you to apply your understanding to those situations. And of course, it's important for you to live your understanding of universal awareness in situations that are not challenging in your normal daily life, in your regular activities, and also in the small challenges that you encounter in your life, the small disappointments or the small irritations, because this is how you, let's say, practice being awareness, so to speak, in your life. And then it will become easier for you when the bigger challenges arise for you, which sometimes they do. Eventually, God takes over.
Hi, Magdi. I had another question. If nobody else has another question, I have one more question. If anybody wants to go, I'll wait.
No, go ahead.
Okay. It's kind of a weird question, but I really wanted to ask. So this awareness or whatever you feel or from wherever you're experiencing, um, that was initially somewhere in my head, like I was this mind, and then slowly it dropped to the perception was happening more from the heart, like something there is perceiving, like from the heart. And after that, it actually fell down to below the like lower tummy, lower below, like I would, it's kind of like things were experiencing from there, which was a very weird feeling of complete emptiness. There was no concept, and I did not even know how to talk. Uh, it was a different one, and I don't even know how to explain. And after that, I I don't know where the perception is happening from, because it very frankly does not feel like the perception is happening in any center of the body, definitely not in these three centers. Like especially when I'm like just plainly looking outside, when I'm looking at you right now, or just looking at anything outside, it attention of course is there, um, but there is no, I can't point down to a place where the perception is happening from, but I'm talking and I'm seeing you and so on. And sometimes it just feel that the awareness is actually outside me, and that kind of confused me, but it feels better in a way, because I don't have to, it doesn't have to perceive through one place. Basically there is no center of perception. And I wanted to hear from you as to what this is.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to, I can still perceive from my heart, but it's a continuous from here, and then it's like a dance that happens from here. If I'm looking at you, back to my heart and there. But otherwise, if I don't care about anything, I'm just looking at you, and there's no center of perception.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I wanted to know, like, where is the location?
Yes.
Should I even know where this location is? Like, what is this? Like, yes. I don't know how to explain this.
Yes, okay, I understand. So one could say that there is a perceiving let's say from a center that has no diameter, like imagine like a sphere that has a center, but it has an infinite diameter or no diameter. And given that it has no diameter, then even the center, which we refer to the center in relation to a certain diameter, even that makes no sense. So in our experience right now, there is perceiving. And we cannot deny that, right? And right now you're perceiving, yes?
Yes.
And right now, in this very moment, there isn't even an idea of any center, right?
Correct.
So there is just perceiving, yes?
Correct.
And then the thought arises, what is it that is perceiving? For example, is there a center that is perceiving, yes? Let's say this thought arises, yes?
Yes.
But before the thought arises, there was perception, and maybe a cloud or a lightning. There was lightning. There was still perception. Perception without any concern about any center or no center. And then a thought about a center arose. Does the thought about a center change the perception? Let me put it another way. The thought about a center is an object of perception, because a thought is an object, yes?
Yeah.
So the thought about a center, the presence of the thought about a center, or the absence of a thought about a center, doesn't really affect perception at all. The fact of perception, the reality of perception, doesn't affect it at all, right?
Correct.
But in our experience, in the absence of thoughts about perception, there's just the fact of perception. And perception refers to something perceived, right?
Yeah.
And it refers to a perceiver, right?
Yeah.
And it refers to the activity of perceiving. Are we together?
Yes. Yes. I'm completely with you. Yes.
When you look at the activity of perceiving, you may consider that the activity of perceiving is the perceiver and the object of perception coming together. They have to come together in the activity. They come together in the activity of perceiving. The perceived object and the perceiver come together in the activity of perceiving. They don't come together 90%, they don't come together 95%, they don't come together 99%, they come together 100%. Are you
Yes. Yes.
So the activity of perceiving, in fact, refers to, let's say, one could say, the merging of the perceiver and the perceived. Would you agree? Yes. So the merging of the perceiver and the perceived means the perceiver and the perceived are at zero distance of each other. They're one.
Okay.
And there actually, even one is saying too much, because one may refer to zero, may refer to two, language is limited. So let's say they're one. So given that they are one, that means there isn't a perceived object and there isn't a perceiver of an object. There is just perception.
Okay.
It's just perception. So perception is the absence of a perceived and a perceiver.
Okay.
And when we're talking about perception, what comes to mind is what is the reality of this perception? Because we're very interested in the reality of the perception. Why? Because if we're not interested in the reality of the perception, we may be under the illusion of the perception. So we want to know what is its reality. You follow?
Yes. Yeah.
Advaita is always interested in the reality, not in mind experiences. Mind experiences could be infinite. We could be deluded. We could be having some kind of dream or whatever. So what is the reality of perception? When we look at the reality of perception, we come to I awareness. Because the perceptions can come and go, I remains, and what is it that knows the perception is I. Because perception refers to I. eye awareness. You,
Yes. Yeah. So what? Okay. Okay.
so where we are going now is that, in fact, perception, as we look at it carefully, our experience of perception, we're not talking some theoretical,
Yes.
refers to awareness. Now, then we look at awareness and say, well, is there a center? Is there a focal centered awareness? Is there a heart-centered awareness, a mind-centered awareness, a below the navel centered awareness? When we look at awareness, we find that we are not talking about any phenomenal, objective sensation or feeling. We're not talking about any of that. Because any sensation, feeling, no matter how subtle it is, still is an object. Yes?
Yes.
So the experience of perception at the heart level, or perception below the navel, or perception behind the eyes, refers to sensation, feeling. It refers to an object, refers to an experience, an object, something perceived. Did I make a big jump there, or?
No, I'm completely understanding.
Okay.
Yeah, you can continue. I had one follow-up question on that.
Yeah.
It was more of a, so this perception, when it was heart-centered, there was some kind of a, like exactly as you said, there was a feeling, there was a humanly feeling attached to it of love.
Yes.
Right? And then when that center also fell away, I can't even call that as a love. I mean, I don't know what to call that, but as you said, it's just plain perceiving. And I know it feels a little bit cold to say that,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm just talking to you, and I have, like, the complete attention is there on you, and it's like, of course, as you said, it's all become one.
Yes.
But somewhere it just feels a little bit cold compared to how the humanly love was there before. And I know they do, and I don't know what they call love in the spiritual world.
Yes. So the human love is, let's say, love that is channeled through the human realm, but it doesn't belong to the human. It is always God's love, and the human realm can experience God's love. The closer it gets to God, the more stable and the more sweet the experience of love is in the human realm. And the further we get away from God, meaning the more we are in the personal self, the more sporadic and will be our experience of God's love. There is only one love, it's God's love, and it's of course available to us humans, and it becomes more and more available to us as we realize our true nature. So in terms of feeling the love, in love we are not two. Yes, in love we are one.
Yes.
In love, the other and I are one. The I and nature, I and whatever, the internal and the external are one in love. And that's what's the beauty about love. In love, there are no division lines. Then division line comes, says, oh, well, you're not meeting my conditions. You're not doing what I'd like you to do. That's mind. So in love, there isn't mind. There is just the joy of being, the bliss of being, and it's permeating the mind for a certain period of time. And then the personal self comes back, says, no, this is what I want you to do, blah, blah, blah. And it becomes, a roller coaster ride. So in your contemplation of what am I truly, what is the reality of my experience, you will find that there will be a shift in your, not just in your understanding, in your body, in the energetics of your body, that the mind center will drop into the heart center, and then the heart center will dissolve into the universe, into the cosmic realm, God's realm. And so love is not an emotion. You say it's important to understand that it's not a feeling. Love is God's reality. It's very hard for the mind to really understand love, because in love, the mind is absent. The mind is dissolved in love, let's say. And then the mind arises and says, well, oh, that was a great feeling. That was the feeling of love. And I know I felt it in my belly, I felt it in my heart, whatever. In fact, in love, there is no mind. There's just love. And there are no conditions. There are no images. If you love an image, if an image loving another image, that's mind. That's just thinking and feeling. You're following?
Yeah, no, I'm completely. Yeah, I'm getting. I'm experiencing what you're saying, which is
Yes. So we really cannot say anything about love. We can just be love. To be love,
okay.
Be love has to be real. Is be reality. Is to be reality. Being reality is recognizing being, the reality of being, not personal being, not the being of an object, not the being of a body, but universal being, the being of awareness, the being of reality, God's being, you see. So that's that recognition. The recognition of reality of being is the recognition of love, the recognition of beauty, the recognition of freedom, the recognition of wisdom, the recognition of presence. Yes, the recognition of everything as myself. So in terms of the experiences you are having, it's I feel it's good that the center is moving, and it's moving from behind the eyes to the heart, and then it will be the center is there are no center. It's a centerless center, and I like to think of a sphere that has no center and an infinite radius. So perception, knowingness, beingness, the experience of the self is like a center. It's like a sphere that has no center and infinite radius. So it's a borderless presence. It's a transparency. And that is love. It's not somebody loving everything and everybody. It is being love. Love is being. It's not somebody being love or anybody being love. It is being love, being, beingness, which is love.
Okay, and you mentioned at one place wherein during the perception of the perceiver and the object becoming one.
Yes.
So I just wanted to understand the differentiation that used to happen before. Like, let's say we are working on something extremely creative, and I usually sing songs and I write my lyrics, and at that point of time there is a time wherein, of course, I don't feel myself. I'm completely into it, and I don't feel myself. However, off late the experience is slightly different. I of course don't feel the center, but I'm also aware of the, like, it's the two things. It's the panoramic view, like if I'm looking at something, I have the panoramic view, like everything around it, and at the same time looking at you. Or when I'm hearing, there is a silence and then things happen in the silence. So there is a subtle difference between how I used to do things before, and I just wanted to ask you, because at both the times there is still just one happening, but in the second case there is still something else that also knows this is happening. I don't know how to put that into words.
Yes. There is a knowing that something is happening, but there is a distance between the knower and the happening, as if there is somebody that is knowing something happening, and that something that is happening is not intimate with the knower of what is happening. So there is that experience of knowing, which still has a certain distance in it. And there is the knowingness of something happening where what is happening is my very self. And that experience of and the knowingness of what is happening, where what is happening is intimately myself, is not, in other words, I am knowing my knowingness of the happening. I am not knowing something that is happening out there. I am knowing my own knowingness of a happening, which is intimate within myself. That's a different experience of a different stage of the journey, and eventually there is. I'm saying that I'm hesitating a little bit because it's very hard to really describe. You have to sort of, but I will say it anyways. There is a experience which is a non-experience, where the self no longer leaves itself. So one could say there is nothing happening and everything is happening. Anyways, we're coming to the end of words here. It's come to the end of words, and I don't think this is what you were asking about. I have a feeling you were asking much more about the distance. That's what I would be paying attention to. Is there any distance still in your feeling state between you, the knower, and what you are knowing?
No. So in this experience, I don't know who the knower is. Definitely. In both the experiences, I don't know who the knower is. In the second kind of experience is it's a shift. It's a dance that happens between the now. I mean, the simple way is, it's when I'm hearing you talking. When you're not talking, it's silence. When you're talking, I hear you. So when I'm seeing you, it's an overall view that is there when I don't have to pay attention to you. But when I have to pay attention to you, I'm completely into you, and then I come out to the now, like here and now, both visually and whatever I'm hearing. Then again I go to you, then again I'm here, then again I go to you. So it's like a continuous dance that happens, which is, before I would just completely get absorbed into singing, and I wouldn't even know about, like, I wouldn't know anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm there, like just like how before, but I'm not even grasping into it.
Mm-hmm.
It just comes back to here and now, then again goes there, here and now goes there. It's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that yeah, that was my question. Like, it's, there is a subtle difference, and was.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So when there is silence, one could say that there is awareness at rest. And when there is the focus of attention upon perceiving or hearing, there is awareness in activity. the activity does not diminish or augment awareness, and the non-activity, meaning awareness at rest, does not diminish awareness. So there is a process of attention that effortlessly operates through us, through this body-mind, in order to perceive or focus one's attention upon a certain perception. It is effortless, and it is not something that has any import, any effect, any impact onto I awareness, onto what you are. So in perceiving these, in hearing these words right now, I awareness, remain as I am, as that transparent presence, that transparent aware presence. And there is talking, there is hearing, and there is the awareness of being, which is there when there is speaking and dancing, and which is the same, exactly the same there, the same awareness when there is silence or stillness. Keep in mind that in our experience of perceiving, hearing, moving, etc., it's probably simplest to take the example of perceiving. As a metaphor, I would say that we perceive just this screen right now, this snapshot, this frame, and then the next frame, and the next frame, and the next frame. And then when you speed up the frame, like in the movies, when you say galloping horse, in fact, you are perceiving 500-600 still frames that are running at a certain cadence that makes the perception of the horse galloping. And between every frame, there is a gap, frame, gap, frame, gap, frame, gap, frame, gap. That gap is presence awareness. And within every frame, let's say it this way, within every frame, there is also presence. There is also awareness. So awareness is existing, awareness is before the frame, during the frame, after the frame. Before a thought, before a perception, before a sensation. During a thought, during a perception, during a sensation. After the thought, after the perception, after the sensation. Awareness is the reality that perceives right now. It is not an object. It's not an experience. So the focus of attention is not a discrepancy in awareness. It is how awareness experiences the world. Awareness in action. That's how we experience hunger. We feed the body. How we experience the need for community, and we invite friends over for dinner, etc. That's important to understand, that there is no discrepancy to awareness as a result of attention. You follow, Sunita?
Yeah, I think the frame stuff that you put, that example, that metaphor, and then what you said, the that the perception happens moment by moment, with there's no something grasping to it inside and forming a story. It just happens, and yeah, and I think that makes it so clear. It's,
In
yeah,
fact, Sunita, the continuity of your experience doesn't belong to your experience. The continuity is the continuity of awareness. I don't like the word continuity because it has the impression that it's something happening in time, but
correct.
just using it just for this particular.
Yeah, and I definitely don't see the continuity there. I mean, from a perception standpoint, because it just happens, it goes, it happens, it goes, and it happens, it goes, and again, there is no one person feel like. Before, I used to feel that there was a story there, and now what's happening, going, happening, going. I mean, everything is having an end, and the end sometimes happens with milliseconds or seconds. Okay.
The only thing that doesn't have an end or a beginning is awareness, is presence.
Got it. Thank you so much. And I think, thanks everyone for hearing patiently. I don't know if this took a lot of time. Thank you so much.
It's good. It's a good question for people. Any question?
Maggie, I have a question.
Yes. Who is it? Andrew?
Yes.
Hello, Andrew.
Hello. You may remember a couple of weeks ago I was dealing with feeling solipsistic, issues with solipsism. Actually, it was like a few months ago, and you said some things that, in combination with some other things that I had been contemplating, kind of helped me come out of that. And now the way I see things, or the model I have about reality, is that this is like one conscious viewpoint, or this is one viewpoint of awareness, and that and I kind of, the way I see other humans are they are also other viewpoints of awareness, and it's also, and I can kind of extend that to, and again, this is just a model I have, so I don't know if it's correct, but I also seem to extend that to like animals as well. Like some animals, like dogs, I can see as like a viewpoint, or cats, or what's kind of what I've been wondering is, I am what we call a human viewpoint of awareness, but I'm also made up of trillions of cells, which are also respond to their environment in some way, and everything responds to its environment in some way. So is the entire conscious field just some like a continuation of viewpoints, or I don't know if you understand the math, maybe you can speak to that. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Um, so first, let's clarify, Andrew, that by awareness, we are referring to the reality of our experience, whatever it is that is real in our experience. And when we contemplate our experience, we will find that there are thoughts, perceptions, sensations, memories, feelings, whatever. They're constantly changing. So therefore, they are not the reality. It is, the reality is whatever it is that does not change in our experience, and that is what we call I, awareness, consciousness, presence, beingness, whatever. There's so many words for it. Yeah, first, it's important to clarify that. Now, can we agree that there is one reality? Yes, can we agree to that? Oops, I don't know if I'm hearing you, Andrew. Hold on, let me see. Let me unmute you.
Oh, my audio is off. Yes. Okay. Yes, we can agree to that.
So we can agree that there is one reality. So, because we're calling reality consciousness or awareness, there is one consciousness, one awareness, one consciousness, one reality. And yet, there are many different perceptions. Right now, I'm perceiving my living room, and you're perceiving, your room. There are two different perceptions. The color, I don't know I know the colors because I see you on the screen, but I don't know the color of your table. You don't know the color of the table that I'm using here. We can agree to that, right?
Yes. And that's why I refer to them as viewpoints and not like two different consciousnesses. Yeah.
Yes. So this is in the language that I use, and of course, viewpoint is fine, but just to stay consistent with the language that I use, I talk about the content of mind. I talk about mind and the content of mind. Okay. There are infinite minds, but there is one consciousness. So it's like there is one tree with infinite leaves, but it's one tree. There is one ocean with infinite currents, in it. There is, well, that's good enough for metaphors. I like the metaphor that Francis Lucille uses. He talks about, imagine a tower, one tower with many windows, infinite windows. It's a round tower. And when you are in that tower, you can perceive, imagine that you can perceive through all the windows. Now there's one perceiver, but from that window you perceive the ocean, from the other window you perceive the prairie. From this window you perceive the forest, from the other window you're perceiving the city. So what's important is to understand that there is one consciousness, one awareness, one reality. Infinite minds, of course, there are infinite minds. And we share, there is some aspect of our minds that we share. For example, we all know that the earth is round. Okay, we all know that New York City is in the United States, etc. So there is a shared knowledge, and there are also private aspects to the mind. For example, I don't know your thoughts, or I don't know your feelings, nor do you know my thoughts or my feelings. So there are some shared aspects of mind and some private aspects to mind, unshared aspects of mind. But although Mind A does not know the content of mind B or mind C or mind D. Awareness is what knows. I know, I perceive. Now the I that perceives is not two eyes. Because by I we're not referring to the particular mind, because minds are different, they're distinct. The mind of people who are in the Amazon, in the certain tribe, and the mind of people who are in New Guinea is different mind, different experiences, different mind. So although mind are infinite and private, from the perspective of consciousness, nothing is private. From the perspective of consciousness, I is the one that knows. I perceive the oak tree. It is that I awareness. Mm-hmm. And I know that I am. I know that I am. And when I say I am, I'm not referring that the body is, or the table is, the car is, or the thoughts is, or the feelings are. I'm talking about I, whatever reality, whatever name we give to reality. I am.
And you're saying you're not also referring to I, the mind, you're referring to I, the one.
I never refer to I as the mind.
Okay.
Because, it's confusing when I'm one minute saying I awareness and the next minute I the mind. It's confusing. I always refer to I as I awareness. I, the reality of being.
Okay.
Whenever I say I, I'm referring to I awareness. And sometimes I use the word me, or personal mind, or the personal self, to refer to both the content of mind and also ignorance, which are two different things. Mind does not mean ignorance, but that's not your question. But I don't use the word I across the board. It's too confusing,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. Did I answer your question?
I understand all you say, and now after you said it, I think that I agree that mind is a better word. Well, you didn't say that it was better than viewpoints, but I like that better now. No, my question was, so in my experience, or I have this sense that, yes, there is one I, there is one consciousness, and that it experiences through separate minds, individual minds.
Yes.
Right.
And different aspects of the world, or
yes,
of the universe. Yes, and even through the mind of the worm, or the mind of the bird, or the mind of the chimpanzee. Yes.
Yes, and that's what I'm getting at is, I can see that each person is a mind, and each animal is a mind, or even a worm is a mind, but it would seem to go even further than that. Well, I'm not sure, and this is my question: is that it seems that in anything that it responds to its environment, a tree, a stone, even a cell in the human body, or a cell in any body, also has some consciousness, or is a mind of some sort, because it is also aware of its environment. Is that?
Okay, let's spend a little time on that. So, irrespective of what is being awared, it is always awareness that is aware. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Irrespective of whether what is being awared is perception, is sensation, mentation, or even some psychedelic realm, whatever possibilities that there may be in terms of the content of mind. The only awareness is aware.
Yes.
Now, when you look directly at your experience of awareness, meaning when you contemplate what are the qualities of awareness in your direct experience, because you know awareness since you are aware, right? Right? You know awareness.
Yeah.
After all, you are aware, meaning you are awareness.
Mm-hmm.
The I that is aware is awareness.
Mm-hmm.
So I awareness is aware, right?
Yes.
So therefore I, which is awareness, aware that it's aware, can look at awareness and realize that awareness has no gender, has no age, has no shape, has no size, has no viscosity, has no velocity. Yes?
Yes.
It's not made out of wood, it's not made out of stone, it's not made out of electrons, it's not made out of protons, it's not made up. Yes?
Yes.
It is, one could say, from my direct experience of awareness, that awareness is, that awareness knows that it is. I know I am. That awareness has no phenomenal quality. So there is no such thing as a stone awareness or a worm awareness or a tree awareness or a helium awareness. You see where I'm going?
I think so. So it's just I think so. But so what makes, like when you said before, your thoughts are private to your mind and my thoughts are private to my mind. So in minds there's some separation. I'll have to think about it more and reform my question.
Okay, well, let's look at it this way.
Okay.
If you look at the human body, to your body, your left arm and your right leg are, you could say they're different. They don't look the same. They have different functions. If you pinch your left arm, you will not feel it in your right leg, right?
Yes.
But
correct.
But they're all that one body, yes?
Yes.
Although the right leg does not feel the pinch in the left arm, you, awareness, I'm just using it as a metaphor, okay? It's a metaphor. I'm not saying that body is awareness. I'm just using it as a tool, as a pedagogical tool. So you, awareness, knows both the pinch in the left arm, and when you stub your toe in the right foot, although the left arm, the pinch in the left arm knows nothing about the stubbing the toe, the pain in the toe in the right foot, you know both.
Right.
Let me give another hint about mind A doesn't know mind B. So just what is that about? You know that you do not know all your experiences across time. Let me repeat the question or the statement. You know that you, let's say, you're not aware or you don't remember your experiences across time. Do you agree with that, or?
Well, anything that
Like,
Well, of course, in the past is a memory that happens now. Is
yeah,
that what you?
no, what I'm saying is like, you cannot tell me, oh, you cannot tell me what you were doing this morning at 10:42 a.m.
Oh, yeah, correct. Yes, I don't remember.
Yeah, right, and yet at 10:42 a.m. you were eating a banana. I have pictures of that. Let's say I'm just playing. Okay, let's say we took a picture at 10:42 a.m. and you were eating a banana. But if I ask you now what were you doing at 10:42 a.m., you wouldn't know, right?
Right.
And yet you were there. Your awareness were there, experiencing the body mind eating a banana. The body mind named Andrew eating the banana, right?
Yes.
So coming back to my statement, you know that you do not remember, you're not aware, or you don't recall your experiences across time. Yes. Although you were the experiencer of all those experiences across time, you don't remember them. You don't even remember 10 minutes ago. What was your thought 10 minutes ago? Or 5 minutes ago? Now, I want you to take that very understanding that we don't remember our experiences across time, although we were there experiencing them, to apply them across space. Forget about time now, just across space, okay?
Okay.
So right now you're eating a banana in Tanzania. You're under a banana tree in Tanzania, or you're at the market in Tanzania. You bought a banana and you're eating it, but you don't remember it because it's across. You don't remember across space. Or you may be in the street of Kairos right now. In the street of Kairos, you're going to the mosque to pray, but you don't remember. I'm just inviting you to consider that not only we don't remember across time, but we also don't remember across space, and that is just this is just how consciousness is playing the game. Because it's complete freedom of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
You follow?
Yeah.
So we have this idea that, oh well, if how could there be one consciousness, one awareness, one reality, and I don't know what you are thinking? And that's just the fact that mind A does not know mind B. That means that there are two realities. No. Think about it. These metaphors I'm sharing with you. You see, there is no experiment, there is no possible experiment that can be conducted that would prove that there is one consciousness. Because there is nothing outside of consciousness to run this experiment. It's not possible to prove one consciousness. So all I'm doing is poking little holes at our beliefs that consciousness is limited and depends on the body-mind experiences.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Andrew.
Magdi, I had one last question for today. Sudita again, one last question.
Yes.
And I know I never had the courage to ask any person, but I'll go ahead and ask you today. I don't know why I'm feeling like all of the concepts. I'm presence or I'm not presence. I'm being, not being. All the concepts that are there. Sometimes I get into a state of the belly experience, which I'm talking about. When I sit there, there's absolutely no concepts, no with respect to right or wrong, black or white, like it's all feels that it's just a thought that is there. Even the concept of existence versus no existence, or awareness, like all the concepts. And sometimes I've begun to detach even from those concepts that just pulled me here to the spiritual path. And spiritual, not spiritual, like, is it okay that I don't care? It's it sounds very rude to, it's kind of sound, yeah, very cold and rude, but anything that I think right now is just a thought. And that's when that the self, or what I thought, the I am, the I itself slowly melted away. And
Yes, yes. You know, Sunita, in our contemplation of truth, we get invited to this contemplation, and we really have no choice about it. You know, something deep from within us sets us on the path. And it may be a path that we've been traveling for much longer than we think. The concepts refer to their reality. So the concept of presence refers to something which is not a concept. The concept of love, the concept of non-duality refers to something that is not a concept. So when you drop the concept, or when the concept sort of drops, it's not actually you that's dropping, it's as if
correct,
it's dropping.
yes,
Then it's like a leaf falling off a tree. It's time for it to drop. And what remains is what the leaf referred to. Was that referring to the tree? So when the concept awareness drops, what remains is beyond words. In fact, the teacher has really no words to share, and yet we share words up to a point, and at some point we go beyond words, and there is the silent understanding. The words are just tools, pedagogical tools. They're not truth in themselves. So when there is a dropping that is sort of a natural dropping, I would not add any thinking to it. I would just drop with the dropping. And what remains is that which does not drop. And that has no words to it.
so I am who I am, like my personality, my mind, in the sense, not the one that has the self-reflection, but just my personality, who I am, everything kind of remains intact, but the internal thing that we thought was experiencing just goes away, because that was a concept, or that was just a thought. And it's, life just goes on. I mean, it's
The way to,
like
yeah, I understand the question, Sunita. The way to put it is that life continues, but the ignorance, the unhappiness dissolves.
Wow, I think that sentence explains everything. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Well,
Thank you.
everybody, thank you all, and namaste to all. Very lovely to see you all, and Gabi and Esther, John and Sunita, Holly, George, Zoe, and the Arlop. I don't know who the Arlop is. Thank you all. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, Magdi.
Okay, lovely to see you.
Thank you, Magdi. Bye-bye.